All right, everyone. This is Alex Canaday, pharmacy student, and on my epi rotation here in March 2024. So I'm here today. We're just going to talk about IV bolus and continuous fusion in this series of videos to help explain some of the concepts, give you guys a little bit better understanding. So for the first video here, we're just going to talk about an intro to IV bolus. So if remember, when we do IV bolus, we'll give a drug concentration right at the start. So we're at time 0, we start with a high concentration, and as time goes, it starts to slowly decay away. So we know at that initial time 0, that's where our CP max is at. Our CP max can be written also as CP naught, which is the same thing as dose over volume of distribution. So the general equation we use for IV bolus is C2 is equal to C1 times e to the negative k times t. So if we rewrite that using information we have, we know CPT is equal to CP naught times e to the negative kt, which again, rewriting that, we can explain that as CPT is equal to dose over VD times e to the negative kt. With this equation, you can calculate, if you have know the dose and volume distribution and the k, you can calculate what concentration of any of these bolus doses at any time t. Now, the key thing to ask is, one other thing to consider is for IV bolus, your max concentration is going to be at time 0, which makes sense. So, the minute you give it, that's the highest it's going to be before it decays. And then your minimum concentration will be at your tau or your dosing interval, because that'll be the lowest concentration you reach right before you give another dose. So that e to negative kt, what that represents is our fraction left of drug at time t. You could think of this as like, say we had $100 or something left, by multiplying by this fraction, that gets us down to $20. It's basically a way to represent how much of we have left from what we started at. So again, it's basically a factor to get us from the start to our current concentration at that time. So that means if we would take 1 minus e to negative kt, that would be our fraction removed at time t. Again, just more of a general example of that. So again, this is just introducing overall intro to IV bolus and just talking about some of the details of it that way. Thank you, and see, yep, that's it. So thank you, and I hope this was helpful.